Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for being here. How are we? I know it's rainy. The rain caught up to you all, but how are we feeling? Okay, we're gonna get a little more pumped up than that. How are we feeling? All right, all right. Well, thank you again for even still choosing to come into this room, even though I'm with you virtually. So, at any point, if I'm speaking too fast, if I am not understanding you correctly, because I want this to be as interactive as possible, let me know, and the AV team, the Healthy Voices team, will let me know. All right. And so now, I'm just gonna let you know what we're gonna talk about today. So we are talking about building your online advocacy brand. So that means overcoming your fears, right? We heard that in multiple keynote sessions, right? Just overcoming, embrace your vulnerability, and confidently tell your story. And we're also going to leverage AI just a little bit. Now, we only have 45 minutes, so I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty of it, but I'll get a sense of which generative AI platform you are familiar with, and we'll start to utilize technology to amplify your brand message. And last but not least, if you haven't networked with the people that are right next to you, you're going to have the opportunity to do so, to network and collaborate with everyone right next to you. Okay? All right. So, who am I? So, just a bigger introduction than what was given is that you can pronounce my name Zaakirah. And in this image that's on the slide, I am wearing lavender. I am having black glasses. I'm also a brown skinned woman. So, lavender is my brand color, but today in the small video, I am wearing a black headscarf and I'm not wearing my glasses because I think right now we got multiple screens going on. So I think I can see okay. But also I'm wearing a white sock. And so I am a TEDx speaker. As of March 2024, I was able to tell my story on the big TEDx stage. And it was a nerve-wracking event, but it really brought me to the stage of this is how I was able to confidently tell my story. And in that TEDx talk, I was also able to talk about what it was like having PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which affect 1 in 10 women globally. And so my symptoms specifically can include facial hair, can include a deep voice, does include irregular menstrual cycles, or even phantom menstrual cycles, as well as, acne and weight gain. And I am also a retinoblastoma eye cancer survivor. Retinoblastoma, according to World Eye Cancer Hope, which is a nonprofit that primarily focuses on retinoblastoma and other eye cancers, it can kill 7,000 young ones each year and blind many more. So I am grateful that I can see you in my left eye only. I have a prosthetic right eye, and I've been blind in one eye since I was 9 months old. And I'm actually going to talk just a little bit more about that story. I was 6 months old officially when a white glow was detected in my right eye. So there's an image on the right that actually has me as a baby, a 6 month old baby with a white hat on, and my mouth is open because my mom must have taken the picture of me when I was babbling. And you also see that white glow in my right eye. This was before I turned 9 months old and my right eye was surgically removed. And so as a result of the treatment, I had radiation treatment and I partially lost my hearing. So at any point where if you have any questions, you're welcome to let me know that you have questions, let the AV team know that you have questions. But if for whatever reason I can't hear you, there will be a microphone getting passed around. And then later on, the PCOS diagnosis, I got it 3 times just to make sure. So it was first at age 13, and then again at age 16, and then again at age 30. And I am now 31. So let's just start over, right? We're gonna go back to that time period where you first received information about your diagnosis, right? And so we're gonna build your brand and your persona. And even if you're already actively doing so on social media, we gotta be more vulnerable than we already are. And so essentially, in order to build your brand voice and your brand persona, you have to also kind of toot your own horn. You have to be able to toot your own horn. And so there's going to be a series of questions that you see already if you don't already have the workbook on your desk, you're welcome to scan the QR code if you can to just have the digital version of it as well. However you want it, you have it right there on your desk, which should be about maybe about the third page after a page of, about me. You have a handful of questions that we're gonna go through, and we're not gonna go deeply into all of them, but it'll give you a starting point, a thinking point. All right, and so let me know when you're on that page. You can go ahead and just kind of put your hand up, just so you know I can see half of the room. So I see. I think it's pink hair. I see that. Thank you for raising your hand. Okay, great, great. Okay, got it. Okay, so now, what is your ideal person? And so, what I mean by ideal person is sometimes we have to either treat it like a dating profile, treat your social media like a dating profile, because who you want to attract is either who you used to be, right? Who you needed when you were first wanting to tell your story, not sure how to confidently tell your story. You have to think about who that person was, right? And so I'm going to answer the questions about me, but these are questions for you to ponder and think about. I'm going to talk, and you're welcome to write while I talk, but you'll also have about 5 minutes after I go through all the questions to start to fill it out for yourself. So, who are your demographics, right? So, most people come to me because I just physically, by looking at me, they see that I am a woman of color. They see that I am a woman of faith because I wear a scarf or a hijab on my head. And then once we start talking, then they learn that I'm also in my 30s. So, I am 31 now. In about 3 more months, I will be 32. I also follow astrology, so I will say that I am a December baby or I'm a Sagittarius. Um, Being a brand strategist also means that I am an entrepreneur. Although I do more brand strategy than photography nowadays, I'm so excited to get back into content creation, as they call it now. And then also education wise, I was also able to get some technical education by getting certifications in photography, certifications in digital marketing, certifications in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then, um, yeah, so location, job title, entrepreneurship. So those are the things that I kind of write down when it comes to just the demographics. Who else is an entrepreneur? Who else is a creative? Who else took the non-traditional route when it came to furthering education beyond high school? Who else is also a world traveler like me? Now, what beliefs do you have that resonate with others? Now, belief can be spiritual, but it also can be I make sure that I include everyone in every conversation. I make sure that I'm inclusive. I make sure that I am an active listener. Those are some three beliefs that I have that I make sure to include whether I'm having these conversations online or I'm having these conversations offline. So, what beliefs resonate with you? And what problems and challenges are you facing before sharing your story? So now I'm going to tell a little bit of a story to kind of give you a sense of what I mean. So I was in middle school before I fully understood the word survivor, right? For a while, I didn't understand the capacity of it. But it wasn't until I was able to advocate for myself and confidently tell other people, especially starting off with my associates at school, that hey, I cannot see you on my right side. I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 6 months old, and when I was 9 months old, my right eye was surgically removed. And so, as a result, I cannot hear you that well. So make sure that I'm looking at you, or make sure that I can you speak slowly, and also know that I cannot see you if you would approach me or call me from the right side. And so, 9 out of 10 times, most people would naturally say, "Oh, I'm so sorry you had to experience that." But I understand it. Just let me know whatever you need, right? 9 out of 10 times, people are going to want to help and support you. Now, of course, naturally, the objections are it could lead to more bullying, which I've experienced tons of that. Although I'm not wearing my glasses right now, I do wear glasses. And 9 out of 10 times when I'm at school and I wear my glasses, most people would jokingly say that I am four eyes, right? But I would let my personality shine, right? Moving on to the next question about certain personality traits. I would let my personality shine and use a little bit of a sense of humor and say, actually, I'm three eyes. because I only see you in one eye and then I have blackness, right? So certain personality traits that most people don't know about you, that they would not know about you if they were to walk up to you and say hi to you in an in-person crowd, right? The thing that we have to remember about social media is that it's social. The same way that you're interacting and networking here in this room at this conference, you take that with you and bring it online. You have to continuously tell your story, continuously reintroduce yourself, continuously show your personality. All right. And then what are the commonalities that the audience will do to relate to you? And most people, as I did start to say at the beginning, will automatically resonate with me because I am also a woman of color. If they are a woman of color, they will naturally gravitate towards me. If they are a woman identified human being, they will naturally gravitate towards me. But you have to utilize these other personality traits, and you may need to either ask your loved ones, what is your best personality trait, right? Because I know sometimes we tend to not want to toot our own horn, but that's actually what's going to help us to gravitate towards one another. Now, that was a lot. That was a lot of questions. And so I'm going to pause now for 3 minutes and let you think about that because what's going to happen is the next slide. Next slide, we're going to talk a little bit more about help statements, but I am going to pause for 3 minutes and go ahead, either write down if you have the pen or pencil, type it if you chose to use your phone, or talk to the person next to you about your answer. You got about 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left. All right. So time is up. Now, make sure that we're going to go into the next part of the session. And so make sure that if you're not already, you do have someone next to you because what we're going to do is actively put together what I call a help statement. So if you can, make sure that you're sitting next to someone. Okay. So now I'm gonna share my help statement. So help statement is basically a shortened version of something that you can do character wise. And keep in mind that all social media networks have different character limits as far as what you can put in your bio on Facebook versus what you can put in your bio on LinkedIn or YouTube or even Instagram. And so my shortened version of a help statement that really basically is the elevator pitch. The same thing that you can say online as well as in person. And so um, if someone were to walk up to you and ask you, well, what's your advocacy? What do you advocate about? And so naturally, I would tell people first that I am a childhood eye cancer survivor, and I am a PCOS warrior woman. But at the core of it, when it comes to how my digital content can help others, I help Black and Indigenous women of color, creative, to confidently tell their stories and build their thought leadership through media. Right. So who do I help? How do I help them? Right. And so now we're gonna move on to yours. And so now this is where you'll need to talk it out with the person next to you. So you're also going to talk it out, but make sure that you have it written down in a way that you can use it after this session. Okay. Who are you? Introduce yourself with your name if you have not met the person already. Who do you serve and how do you serve them? I am going to set the timer for 3 minutes and then I'll check in if you need more time after that. So go. About 1 minute left. Okay, raise your hand if you need more time. Okay. So come on back, come on back, come on back. You'll get more time than ever at the end. Come on back. All right, I'm looking for all eyes facing the projector. All eyes facing the projector. And Dane, let me know if there's anyone off camera who's not.
Oh, sorry, this is my one thing. It's enjoying the introduction presentation. Thank you.
All right, I love it. I'm glad that it's taken a minute for you to reel back in. I appreciate that. So we only got what about less than 20 minutes left, right, Dane? All right. So I can tell that I was super engaging and super helpful. And so at least you have a starting point, right? If you didn't finalize it now, you do have a starting point. So now I'm going to briefly talk about generative AI just a little bit and take how everything that you just talked about, you just wrote down, and even as you continue it, I do want you to kind of give yourself a little homework assignment, if you will, and actionable steps to take that by, let's say, October 1st, by the time you finish this conference, that you have your help statement and you do that in your first, content related post on your social media platform of choice after this with your help statement. And then I'll have something at the very end for you to be able to tag me because I want to see you too. I want to engage with you on your advocacy journey. Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk a little bit about generative AI. So by a show of hands, just raise your hand and we're going to move some fingers around. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how many of you already use generative AI for anything? Okay, I see a lot of fives. Okay, now I'm going to ask for each individual platform. On a scale of 1 to 5, how often have you used Claude? Is that a 0 for you? Okay. And then ChatGPT. Okay, there's 5. Good. And then Jasper. Okay, got it. Now I know which ones to focus on. And I'll be honest, Jasper is my favorite, especially because it's content created focused. So I'm gonna show basically brief tutorials about each one of them. But before that, I'm just gonna let you know the difference between ChatGPT and Claude and Jasper. And I think one thing to keep in mind when you are making your request, especially to use it for your content creation for the next 30 days, is to be very clear and concise in your request. The same way that you have to be very clear and concise in your request when you're making a Google search, the same way that you have to be very clear and concise in your request when you need accommodations and ADA assistance, you have to be very clear and concise in your request for generative AI. Otherwise, it will frustrate you because it may seem like it's misunderstanding you, but maybe less is more. Sometimes less is more, but also being careful of the kind of words that we use to be very clear and very concise in our request. Now, the difference between each, so Claude is more text-based. So if you prefer writing or even voice typing, Claude is going to be most likely your best friend because you can process a lot more words, a huge blog post or extensive Instagram content research for you. ChatGPT is original. That's why most people know it and use it. But it also has more robust prompt requests. So not just for content, you can use it to manage your daily life. You can use it to set yourself a reminder to uh, set your accountability to complete, your health statement by October 1st. But they both have free versions where each version you can pay and have a paid plan to have more features such as interpreting and generating images. One thing about social media, especially now, I've been for a while, I was actually agency based. I would help other Black and Indigenous women to confidently tell their story, but I would do it for them as far as managing the content for them. And so I've witnessed the changes over the last 10 years. And so video, although video is the next big thing, video is what it will help kind of the algorithm will actually show other people, especially once you use your certain keywords on what your specific advocacy and your niches. So make sure you're I just got sidetracked really quick to let you know of a brief social media tip to try to incorporate as many videos as possible, but understand that you can use generative AI to generate images. Jasper is specific for content, and so um, it has this very cool feature that I'm going to show in another slide where as soon as you set your brand voice, as soon as they know what kind of personality trait you actually are, it'll create content for you. All you have to do is make a request and you'll get a blog post, a LinkedIn post, a Facebook post, a caption for your YouTube, all of the things that you need for your digital online advocacy brand. So now I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So just this screenshot is basically of the Jasper homepage. Once you've logged in, after you've started the trial, if you hadn't already. So you get to go to the homepage, and then under what's called a campaign is where you get to see something called instant magic, and that's what I was saying about. The minute you set your brand voice, where you see something about one, two, three, four, five buttons down that say voice. Once you set your brand voice, you can create content for all of the things in one clicking button. Now, of course, generative AI is not perfect. Humans are not perfect, but you can always tweak and edit it as you go. My other favorite feature is with Jasper is they have something called a internet browser extension. So I can be in Google Docs, I can be in Google Chrome, I can be in my Gmail, and still ask Jasper to create a content prompt for me, such as improve my writing, make it more of my tone, or make it more words than I can think of right now. So Jasper is my favorite. And then moving on to Claude, because I did share that Claude is text based. I tested it out to create a 30-day content strategy. And so the prompt that I put in, and just so you know, I wanted it to be based off of my Instagram. And so this is my one of my 9 image grid Instagram profiles. I kind of created a screenshot of that and was able to integrate it into Claude AI. Now, when it comes to building your Instagram brand, I choose pictures intentionally from either my previous speaking engagement. I do have a podcast that has thankfully made it to about 100 episodes, and we'll come back, more next month. And even when I take pictures with other Black and Indigenous women of color, right, the people who are of my demographic. And so I uploaded that image, and then the prompt that I typed in. And so I'll be honest that what I did was I used the Jasper internet browser um, extension and then let it extend into Claude. And so basically it has a long version, but it kind of expanded the one that I asked for, which is basically to gain insights on my Instagram feed and plan content, analyze my top performing posts. Now this part you can include your Instagram URL, and it doesn't have to be Instagram. Instagram is just easier because it's visual. And then I asked it to plan out my next 30 days of content and include the upcoming holidays, include any upcoming trends and events. That's the shortened version of this prompt. And so then the result was, I'll go ahead and read it because it might be a little smaller than a lot. And the result was, it said that I do have consistent branding. I have a cohesive visual style with often where, with me in my headscarf, always smiling. And then it said to be sure to focus on business, emphasize on entrepreneurship and business growth, and diversify the content with the selfie, the speaking engagement, the graphics, and even behind the scenes content. And that my 4 content pillars are empowerment and confidence building, branding and legacy building, health and wellness, and cultural representation, or diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, how many of you can raise your hand and kind of see a consistent theme here, really, since the session started? Go ahead and raise your hand if you can pick up on that. Yeah, there we go. So, I definitely want to make sure that you are able to do the same thing for your brand too. Okay, now I'm going to go with an example prompt that I use on ChatGPT. And so this is a simple question, right? Because ChatGPT already has my voice. So all I had to do was, again, ask them what's the vibe of my Instagram. and what type of content should I do for the next 14 days. Now I go 30 because I understand that life will happen. I will not actually post all for 14 days. So I give myself breathing room, but at least I have ideas of content to recycle. And so I uploaded my Instagram grid again. And then the results were it also did say that I still have that vibrant, positive, and professional vibe with personal branding, entrepreneurship, storytelling, and health. And then it also recommended that I talk about personal branding and health. So sharing a post about my journey, a short video, behind the scenes look, a testimonial, motivational quotes, going live, sharing a photo from a recent event. So make sure you go to the content studio here at Healthy Voices if you haven't already to be sure to get that content. Go with your buddy that's right next to you to be sure to get it recorded. And then holistic health and wellness. Um, and so for me, I do have a book. You might have seen that in your workbook. So I have a book. So for me, it would be showing the recommendations of a chapter from that book or sharing a recent podcast clip, right? So find other ways to repurpose your content to make sure that you're staying under your brand voice and your health statement. That was a lot, right? But how are we feeling about it? Are we excited to try to get some content going? Yeah. All right. So here's a tip that I have for you that I've been observing that maybe most people may not realize is that when you use ChatGPT and you copy it out of ChatGPT and onto the social media platform or onto the email addresses, you'll see a bunch of asterisks or little stars before and after the word, right? What happens is ChatGPT uses that in their AI platform to make content bold, but it doesn't transfer over to everywhere else. So it may take a little bit more time, but try to do your best to remove the asterisk so that it's actually your voice and we don't know that it's ChatGPT. Okay? All right. So we are almost done at the end. And so make sure you are building your strong online presence. Make sure you're confidently telling your story. This makes it easier for the people in your specific niche to find you, and it allows you to continue to make a greater impact and see the world through a different lens. And so, just to summarize what you did learn, you learned how to build your brand story. There's about an average of 6 questions for you to continuously ask yourself so that you can consistently and confidently share your story online. And you can bring that into your health statement, which you can make it your universal um, elevator pitch. And then also, you did meet with someone. And if you didn't, make sure you do that before you leave the room. And then you also learn how to get started with Jasper, which is my favorite. And if you didn't catch that website, it was jasper.ai. And then you learn how to build your brand voice, which will always be tweaked. Same thing for your content strategy once you're able to utilize the prompt and generate answers for your specific content. Okay, so now is where I want to hear from you. I want to hear if you have any questions. I want to hear if you have any favorite moments that you want to tell me. Um, and now is your time to share. So you can raise your physical hand, and then Dane or anyone of the AV team will hand the microphone over. Or if you want to practice your health statement with me, either one. This is your time. We got about 3 minutes to do that.
I'm not sure if you can see me, but thank you first. I got here a little late. My question is in regards to this. So Instagram right now is, and I still don't know how it works, but connected a lot to threads. And so most of the times right now when I post something in Instagram, it was to threads, but you can still post different things on threads. Do everything that you've been telling us work for both, or is it? I mean, I'm just trying to understand how it works.
Yeah, okay. So let me make sure, because you are in the corner, let me make sure I did understand your question correctly. You're asking about the app Threads and also asking about if the same type of content you do post on Instagram will work on Threads. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Yes, many times automatically when I post something on Instagram, you pass it to threads. But now you can also post things separately. So do these all these AI works at unison, or do you have to create something separately? That would be my question.
Yeah, so ideally, one, I'm glad you asked this question. I'm glad you asked about Threads because Threads is actually my current favorite platform. It is what X or Twitter used to be, which before it was able to enable images and video, it was primarily text-based, right? So Threads, you have to take a look. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but there's a certain character or word limit that you can use. But for Threads, you can use images, you can use videos, you can use actually up to 10 images and videos combined on Threads. And my favorite part about Threads is even if you just use those keywords, just use your help statement, just use maybe a selfie. It also does pick up a hashtag as well, and it'll pick up on the word that you're using. So it'll actually connect you with people without even following each other. Although you kind of do want to follow each other so that you can easily see each other's posts. But Threads is a lot easier, but also you just have to keep in mind that there's a certain character limit. If I'm not mistaken, it might be 500 characters or words. But did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Who else has a question or anything you want to share?
Thank you for all of the visuals. I think it's wonderful for all of us. I hadn't heard of some of them at all. I'm just
So you
curious.
may have to talk a little bit louder, just a little bit.
Okay, I'm just curious, like you're giving us great resources. How is it that you are able to find come across these resources? Where do you go whenever you want more?
Yeah, well, this QR code, I'll start there. This QR code, if you scan the QR code and or go to the website or in your little workbook, I'm actually going to be sharing more resources over the course of time. So there'll be a link for you to connect with me and join my email list. And so what happens is we're going to collectively have like a third, every third Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna kind of have like a group Zoom call, and you'll get the recording to kind of talk about these things as we get the resource. Now, for me, I'll rewind a little bit and share that because between the time that I was learning how to be an advocate for myself, I was also following the people that I admire. I was also looking, again for me, I look at other women of color who or women of faith who are creative, and I see what they're doing. And then I don't literally copy and paste what they're doing, but I get inspired and I kind of make it my own voice and my own personality to see what they're doing. So that was, what I've been doing over the course of time. But you can also, join me, follow the community, join my email list as well. And as I continue to get more resources, I will bring it to you live in the email list, in the resource community, things of that sort. Did that answer your question?
Absolutely, thank you so much. I think you gave some followers here today.
Any other questions?
Hey, Zaakirah, thank you so much for sharing. I could probably Google this, but I was just wondering if I wanted to avoid the screenshotting piece of maybe my social media to feed to AI, would it pick up a link? Like, could I link to my profile or just do a summary of maybe some of the things I talk about and see if that would yield some of the same, like how you did for that 14-day example? That was dope. But if I didn't want to do that, could I use different terminology or just link to my page instead? And would that yield similar kind of results?
Yeah, no, thank you for asking that. You can absolutely use the link. Especially plug it into ChatGPT, post the link first and then put your prompt after that. You can put your link and it'll kind of look through it for you. It'll scan through it for you. And then some people I've seen they will make a I guess I would say like a PDF version of their page and upload it as a PDF into ChatGPT or even Jasper, and it'll quickly skim it and read it and give you a result as well. So you can use the link as well.
Thank you.